travelers, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, my name is Jara and I make vlogs about my life here in Japan in general. So today I will be sharing with you hopefully some useful tips on how to survive your first few days as an ALT here in Japan at your new school. Okay, so I don't know about the other ALTs, but before I came here to Japan, I already received information about what to expect when I arrived in my assigned prefecture. So I went back and forth emailing my supervisor, and she told me exactly what I need to prepare before I come here to Japan. And so when I came here, I received my inkan or seal, which then I used to sign a lot of important documents like signing the contract for my housing, opening a bank account, application for my resident registration, and even setting up my phone and internet. I arrived here in August, so actually we didn't have any classes yet. So it was summer vacation. But I think that's really good because you would want to use that time to adjust to your new life in Japan, right? But what if you come in the middle of the term? So I think it will be much more difficult in terms of adjustment. But don't worry, the hardest part is actually over, which is getting into the program. So adjusting, I think, is a little bit easier. Alright, so don't worry about it, I got your back. So on your first day of school, you will probably be asked to introduce yourself in front of the teachers in the staff room. So when I arrived in Japan, I was asked to do that, and then the second time that I had to introduce myself was at the gym, this time in front of the students. And then during our orientation for Nara jets and our acceptance ceremony, we were also asked to introduce ourselves in Japanese. So my first tip would have to be to practice introducing yourself in Japanese because you will definitely do it a lot of times when you come here. So it could be as simple as this. Hajimemashite, Jara Furio to moshimasu. Philippine no Manila kara kimashita. Dozo yoroshiku onegai shimasu. My next tip is probably the most obvious one, and that is to make a good impression by being punctual and dressing properly. So I highly recommend that you wear a suit on the day that you will be introduced to everyone. So even it was, really hot at that time, I still wore my best suit. It's not a bad idea to blend in with the other teachers because it really shows that you're willing to adapt to their culture. So please invest in a good suit and make a good impression. Let's now go to my third tip, and that is to bring with you some comfortable indoor shoes. So remember that here in Japan, it's accustomed to use different shoes outdoors and indoors. So your school can actually let you borrow some indoor slippers, but I think you will feel much comfortable if you use your own. In my case, I have 3 pairs. So one that I use for my regular classes, one that I use on formal days, and one that I use for my visit school. Okay, so next tip on my list is to get to know your supervisors. I'm pretty sure that the first person that you will meet when you arrived in your prefecture is your supervisor. So at my school, we have 3 supervisors. I don't know why, maybe because there's a lot of work that comes from managing 2 ALTs. But it kind of makes sense because there are teachers and they're very busy with their work, plus they have their families, so it's good to divide the responsibility. So I have a supervisor that directly deals with Board of Education and other jet related activities. I have a supervisor that is in charge of our visit schools, and another supervisor that deals with housing concerns and other general documents. So find out how many supervisors you have and who is in charge of what. Although this is probably one of those things that are ESID, I think it's good to know who you can directly ask for your concerns, right? And also in my school, being our supervisor is kind of like a voluntary role. So our supervisors can also change every year. Just because they might get transferred to a different school, or they might be assigned into a leadership role and they cannot handle the responsibilities of being a supervisor. So that's just how the system works here in Japan. So just to let you know that your supervisors can change every year. Okay, And to be honest, I feel very blessed. So far, I've had a wonderful experience with my supervisors. They would go above and beyond to help me with whatever I need here in Japan. And so I hope that you would also have a good relationship with your supervisors. My next tip is to find out information about your classes. So if you come in during summer vacation, then that's good because you have enough time to do that. So find out who you will be co-teaching with or who are your JTEs. So on my first year on the JET program, I was able to teach with 5 JTEs, but this year I am teaching with 8 different JTEs. So every year it changes because they get different assignments. Okay, so you might also want to ask the following questions as well. So how many classes are you going to teach? How many students are there in each class? Are you going to use a textbook? So use your time to get to know your JTEs and ask about your students. Usually, after we find out who our JTEs are for each class, then the next step for us is to find a common time on our schedule to hold meetings. So during the meeting, we will talk about our lesson plan. So yes, so it's very important to find out information about your classes and your JTEs. Alright, so actually I still have a lot of things to say regarding classes and teaching with JTEs, but I will have to stop for now. I'm actually planning to do part 2, so please wait for that video. And yes, I hope you found this video helpful. If you're an incoming ALT or a new ALT here in Japan, so tell us, how are your preparations going? And if you're already an ALT here in Japan and you've been teaching for quite some time, maybe you have some words of wisdom to share, so feel free to give us some advice in the comment section down below. Okay? If you like these kinds of videos, subscribe to my channel, be part of our growing family, and hit that notification bell. You can catch me on my socials too. I've been trying to be more active on my Instagram as well, and be part of our Discord server. Okay, so stay safe and healthy. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!